Trina, we're here along the Texas-Mexico border. If you can see behind me, far in the distance, is one of those tent cities we've been hearing so much about over the past few days.
We've landed, making it to the Abel Santa Maria Airport here in Santa Clara, and it's all part of JetBlue's first commercial flight from the U.S. to Cuba in over 50 years.
Microblading is what it's called. It is still relatively new. A few spots in South Florida where you can get it done. Like you said, it's for both women and sometimes for men. Yeah, and a very powerful vigil. You know, we are guests here in this community covering this tragedy, but we quickly learned the impact this officer had in this city. Well, you know, I got to tell you, it comes in big in bursts, in and out. Right now, it's starting to rain really hard. Manny, let's go ahead and walk this way. You know, the good news is for this area, it's not a category 4 or 5 or even a 3. I think it's a category 2 now, or maybe even a 1. So it's going to be not as strong as they once thought.
Our team coverage continues now. NBC6 reporter Julia Bagg also live in Houston this evening. Julia.
And Keith, one of the people answering that call for anyone with a boat to help is sitting right next to me, Stephen Connor, who's got his 8-foot inflatable. You're going around looking for people. Tell me what this has been like.
Well, it's been a lot of rain, of course. Just taking people to higher ground. They need assistance. Just helping them, helping my friends out.
Stephen, just riding through this neighborhood, and of course you live in this area, looking at cars submerged over here, water as high as 4 feet in some houses we're hearing. It feels more like we're on some kind of jungle cruise than going down a street. This is like rivers. Here's where 2 streets cross. It's hard to even know how deep the water is in some areas, and I saw you hop in and you were in chest deep water at one point.
Yeah, it's been pretty deep. We're right along the White Oak Bayou, which the White Oak Bayou is directly behind us, probably about 1,000 yards. And at that point, it was flowing over the street, about 2.5 to 3 feet of water over the street, which at Bayou, if you look down on a normal day, it's a good 20, 30 feet down.
Right. This is just, of course, the National Weather Service calling this an unprecedented event. For you, for this being your home, what's it like when you look around and see it like this?
Well, you know, I've been here all my life. We went through, Carla, Rita, Allison. Allison was a tropical storm, and it put up about 30 inches of rain.
But not like this.
No, ma'am, nothing like this. Although, if you talk to the neighbors on this area here, they claim that they were here, in June of 01, and they had more water then than they have today. It's hard to believe, but
it is hard to believe. We see sandboxes in front of some places, and as you look here, water reaching into the garage of this house, and of course some of the newer houses are higher up. But what's really been incredible, Stephen, is us seeing neighbors like you just hopping in their boats and helping people. A short while ago, we saw the Coast Guard flying over. Hi there, how you doing, sir? You doing okay? Do you need anything? You need some help or anything? You're okay? Okay. One of the folks preferring to stay where they are right now. It kind of just depends how high your house is. Most houses, though, that we've seen are not that high. We were earlier on a different boat for a different rescue. This is just something that's incredible to see, and rain starting to fall again, and we're expecting more rain this evening.
That's what they're saying. They're saying another couple inches tonight, although it could be 4 to 5. We just don't know. It could be a lot of rain, or hopefully, a little bit.
Right, certainly hoping that. All right, well, Stephen Connor, thank you so much for speaking with us, and thank you for taking us on this ride. We know you're going to be doing some more rescues, so stay with NBC6. Keep your NBC6 News and Weather app handy for the latest updates from Houston. Live in Houston, I'm Julia Bagg, NBC6 News.
Well, Jackie, the director was very candid, and he spoke at length with me about how difficult it was to respond to a tragedy like this, specifically because the identification process took so long since there were so many people trapped under that bridge. Perez also tells me first responders had to rely on the expertise of engineers to get to those victims as quickly as possible.
This one was different than most incidents.
Different because people were trapped under the collapsed bridge, and the heavy concrete prevented first responders from getting to the victims as fast as they wanted.
950 tons of weight on top of those victims, and it takes tedious work. It's excruciating work.
The Miami-Dade Police Department Director Juan Perez says they held a moment of silence and said a prayer for every person who was pulled out of the rubble because they felt emotionally connected to the tragedy.
We become also grieving individuals because we're trying our best to get to those people and we can't.
According to the director, the department is now conducting a death investigation that may or may not lead to criminal charges.
We want to make sure that there was no criminal intent to do anything wrong, and we don't feel there's going to be any, but you can't rule it out. You know, maybe this was done on purpose, but we don't see it going that way. More than likely, it's an accidental situation. But even if it's an accident, now we got to look and see if there's a negligence to the level that rises up to be criminal.
And the Miami-Dade Police Department is now in the evidence and collection phase of their investigation. NTSB and OSHA are also investigating and are expected to compile a report that the Miami-Dade Police Department will then also have to take a look at. Reporting live in Doral, I'm Laura Rodriguez, NBC6 News.
Well, Kendall Regional is less than 3 miles away from University City Bridge, where that bridge collapsed. It's also the closest trauma center and received most of the victims. Late tonight, Florida Governor Rick Scott stopped by Kendall Regional Medical Center. He visited victims from today's bridge collapse and met with doctors who tended to them.
This is just such a senseless act, and you just can't imagine this happening to these individuals. I told them anything I can do to be helpful to them, I'll do it.
Surgeons treated 10 level 1 trauma patients.
One of the patients arrived in cardiac arrest. His heart was restarted and he went emergently to the operating room. He is currently in critical condition in the intensive care unit with head and chest injuries.
Another patient in critical condition arrived in a coma. The other 8 also had traumatic injuries but are stable.
There's a variety of injuries with 8 patients, everything from bruises and abrasions all the way to broken bones.
Doctors impressed, none of the survivors of the 950-ton bridge collapse have any brain injuries. Kendall Regional says this is the biggest mass casualty event they've worked, but it's something they prepared for.
We run mock drills on this to be ready when this situation occurs, like most trauma centers.
And the victims range in age from 20 to 50 years old. I did see some friends and family leaving the hospital tonight. I tried to see if they would talk, but understandably, they're not ready to do that yet. Reporting live tonight at Kendall Regional Hospital, Jamie Garola, NBC6 News.
We are here today to make changes. We are not going to just go hide and sleep in our room and be sad.
Lori Alhadeff, a Parkland mom who lost her daughter Alyssa in the shooting, angry and passionate and front and center at a news conference in advance of tomorrow's March for Their Lives. Dimitri Hoth is a Stoneman Douglas student.
We have come here today to hold accountable politicians and their disturbing inaction. Never again will our voices, students' voices, be shunned into silence.
You need some bipartisanship. You need some moderation here. You think you're going to find it?
I think we will. The midterms are coming up, so both sides are, anxious to do something.
Thousands will fill Pennsylvania Avenue tomorrow with the goal of sending a clear message to lawmakers. Do something about gun violence and make sure schools are safe for kids. Minneapolis student Antiqua Flint told us she expects a shooting at her school.
There's plenty of people that walks around South every day that have guns that can easily come into my school and do the same thing that they did in Florida to my school.
Progress has been made at the state level regarding stricter gun measures, but activists say federal lawmakers need to step up and do their part. Hoth's message to them:
vote yea to bills that advance gun control and sing along with us to the melody of justice. Never again, never again, never again. America, we are your future. Why won't you protect us?
In the city of Miami Beach, tourism drives the economy. Last year alone, 15.5 million tourists visited, bringing in $24.4 billion.
Miami's a good distraction. See, everybody's partying, music everywhere.
This Saturday night, tourists taking in the Ocean Drive nightlife, sharing their reaction to Zika.
We heard about it being in one particular area, Wynwood, and we were planning to go down there, so we were going to be like, oh, maybe that'll just be that. You know, we'll just get some bug spray. But now that it's here, it's like, oh crap.
I just don't want to get it. I don't, you know.
I'm gonna try not to think about it, because if I think about it, then I'm gonna stay home.
There are 5 confirmed cases of Zika linked to Miami Beach, 3 tourists and 2 residents. At this bar, one manager questions the economic impact.
Of course. Everybody's concerned about that.
The CDC has expanded their travel advisory to designated areas of Miami Beach, advising pregnant women to avoid areas of active Zika transmission.
I think that we need to heed their warning.
Officials mapping out the Zika zone on 8th to 28th Street from the beach to the bay. This includes Lincoln Road, Ocean Drive, Flamingo Park, and Miami Beach High. City officials reiterating their commitment to safety at a news conference Friday.
We are pushing even more to inform, educate our residents, all our businesses, making sure that any standing water in our entire city is taken up as fast as possible.
Hoping the sights and sounds of Miami Beach keep everyone coming back for more.
I think Miami Beach is going to take care of it, you know, and I guess the tourists are still going to come.